there, welcome or welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, hi, my name is Samantha and this is my channel where I talk all about books. Anyway, today I'm coming to you with a video which I haven't done in a really long time, but I used to do these like way back when, years ago. But today I'm coming to you with like a bit of a seasonal TBR. Yeah, I used to do this pretty much every season, and then I would just never stick to it and I would get stressed out, so I stopped doing them. But I feel like I kind of want to give myself a little bit of direction with my reading this season. I want to read books that have the autumnal vibes because I personally do not enjoy autumn. It's just not for me, you know? I like warm weather, I like to be warm, I like the long days of summer, and I don't like the fact that in autumn the days are getting shorter and you just know winter is coming and it's a sad old time. But I'm trying to embrace it this year and just read books that have the nice autumnal vibes and just really like get cozy and try to pretend like everything is fine. Anyway, so I've chosen a selection of books that I would like to get to in, well, September, October, November time, aka autumn. And yeah, I don't know if I'll get to all of them, and if I don't, that's okay. But yeah, these are the books that are on my radar for autumn. Yeah, let's just go over them, shall we? So first of all, I would really love to reread Nevermore by Jessica Townsend. This is a middle grade book following our main character Morgan Crow, who was basically born on this cursed day, and she's told that on her 11th birthday she's going to die. But right before the clock strikes midnight on her 11th birthday, she's whisked away by this guy called Jupiter North and taken to the secret city of Nevermore, where she basically had the opportunity to join what is called the Wondrous Society. But to do this, she has to take part in some trials using a magical power, which she doesn't actually have. This book is just a really fun magical time. It's a little bit dark and definitely has some autumnal vibes. I mean, it has umbrellas on the cover. Yeah, it definitely has an autumnal feel to it. However, I've only read this first book and I've been meaning to continue on with the series for, well, since I read it the first time. So yeah, I would really love to reread this book over the autumn and hopefully continue on with the series, because it is pretty short and also it's middle grade, so I just know it's gonna read quickly. And I do love a book with a trial element. Hopefully I will reread this book and continue on with the series in the next few months. We'll see. Next, I have some witchy books which I would like to get to. I am going to be reading some for a special little video that I'm doing. I might be reading some witchy books for a certain reason, but I just feel like October is the perfect time to read books about witches, and I feel like I can really enjoy the witchy rom-com subgenre. I mean, history has kind of proven me wrong, but sometimes I do really enjoy them, and I feel like I loved those sorts of movies as a kid, so if I can find books that give me those same vibes, then I'll be very happy, and it will be very nostalgic. And one that I bought the ebook of last year but didn't get around to reading is The Secret Society of Irregular Witches by Sangu Mandana, and I've heard such amazing reviews of this book. I'm gonna try and go in with lowered expectations, but I'm also very excited for this book. I've just heard that this is a really good, fun time, and it's kind of got like a found family aspect to it, which I think I'll enjoy. And I'm pretty sure it's set in England as well, and a lot of the witchy books I read are set in the US, so that will be fun to read something that's actually set where I live. And I know that in this world, like, magic is a secret, and one day the main character is like contacted to be like a tutor for some young witches and has to like move there and train them, something like that. I can't exactly remember, but I'm very excited for this one. Similarly, I also want to read The League of Gentlewomen Witches by India Holton. Again, I don't remember what this one is about, and I think this is actually the second book in a series, but because it's a romance series, like, I don't think it actually matters. But I'm really excited to read this one because I think I'm gonna really enjoy it. I've actually read like the first page and I really enjoyed what I read of it. Like, I think I could vibe with the writing style a lot, so fingers crossed for me. But yeah, as you can see, I like the witchy rom-coms. Well, I think I like the witchy rom-coms, but we'll see. Only time can tell. Another witchy book that I have, which is not actually a rom-com, is just one that I've been meaning to read for years, and I don't know if I'll actually get to it, but like, fingers crossed. But that is Serpent and Dove by Shelby Mahurin. This book came out in like 2019, and I think I bought the ebook like pretty close to that time, and I just have not touched it since, but I know that this one is definitely witchy, and I think it's like a witch and a witch hunter. I think they might fall in love. I'm pretty sure it's YA as well, which is going to be interesting because I have not read a lot of YA recently. I kind of have grown out of it a bit. I'm not opposed, but this is the last book that I have on a 5-star prediction video that I made back in 2019. So I just have to read this one and then I can like react to that and see if I did actually rate them 5 stars. I think I could really enjoy it, but I also don't know. Hopefully I read that one in October, the witchy month. And then another book that I would like to read in October, hopefully, is actually a nonfiction, and that is Will My Cat Eat My Eyeballs by Caitlin Doughty. Caitlin Doughty, or Doughty, I'm not sure how you say her last name, is basically a mortician, and she has answered popular questions that people have about death and dead bodies. And I'm just like very intrigued by this. We were actually getting rid of this at the library and I snatched it up because I'd heard about it, and there was a certain question which was, it just made me laugh. Like, I think this is gonna be very funny even though it's about death. Yeah, the question was, what would happen if you swallowed a bag of popcorn before you died and then were cremated? And I think that that's just like very silly. So yeah, it's split into like a bunch of questions, so it's very like short little chapters, and I can just read like 1 or 2 questions at a time, and it will give me that little October spooky scary vibe. It also has illustrations throughout, so I think it's gonna be a pretty quick read considering it's nonfiction, and I am trying to read 1 nonfiction book a month, so hopefully I can get to this in October. And then my last like October hopeful is going to be The Man Who Died Twice by Richard Osman. This is the 2nd book in the Thursday Murder Club series. I read the Thursday Murder Club earlier this year and I really enjoyed it, and I've been meaning to continue on, but I just haven't got around to it. But if you don't know, the Thursday Murder Club basically follows 4 people living in an old people's home, and basically they meet up every Thursday to talk about sort of cold cases that the police aren't investigating anymore, to try and see if they could solve the murder. However, someone that they know gets murdered, and so they're trying to kind of figure it out as the police are also trying to figure it out, and it's a good fun time. I really enjoyed the first one. I think I gave it 4 stars, but I didn't like love it, but I still had a really fun time with it. But I was actually gifted the whole series for Christmas last year, and ideally I would like to finish it before Christmas this year. And now moving on to some books that are more for like November time. Well, firstly, I have 2 books which are coming out in November, which I'm very excited for. So first of all, there is of course Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. This is the sequel to Fourth Wing, which if somehow you don't know is a romantasy following dragon riders. Basically they go to this military college and they are like bonded with dragons, and there's dragons and fighting and romance, and it's not a good book. Like, it's not good, but it is so freaking fun. I gave the first one 5 stars and I'm so excited for Iron Flame. Ridiculously addictive and dumb, but I loved it. And then another book which is coming out in November, which I'm really excited for, is Bookshops and Bone Dust. This is of course the prequel to Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree, and this is basically a very cozy fantasy which doesn't really have a lot of plot. This prequel is going to be following our main character Viv, who's also the main character in Legends and Lattes, and essentially she is injured and has to take some time to recuperate, and she does this in a bookshop. I think it's going to be quite similar to Legends and Lattes with like no plot, just vibes, and I'm really excited. It's like very cozy and calming and very enjoyable. So yeah, those are 2 books that are coming out in November, which I cannot wait for. And then I do have a few more books as well. This is like quite literally ridiculous, but hopefully I can read all these in the next couple months. So I recently bought the ebook of Spells for Forgetting by Adrienne Young. I have just heard really great things about this book. I think this might also have wishy vibes. I'm not sure if that's true though. I'm just guessing from like the spells aspect. But I know that this is set in a small town, and I think that the main character's boyfriend is accused of murdering someone in like the past, and then it's like 10 years later or something and she's coming back to the town. And I don't know, actually, now that I'm saying this out loud, I'm like, am I making this up? But I've just heard multiple people talking about this recently and raving about it, and so I also really wanted to read it. And then it was on sale on Kindle for 99p, so I had to buy it. And then the next one I have is another one that I've been meaning to read for years, but just haven't got to yet, and that is actually the start of a new series, which I really shouldn't do, but I want to, and that book is The Marionettes by Katie Whisper. I really like Katie's poetry. I actually own all 3 of her collections, and I've also read 2 of her novels, but I read her 2 like contemporary romance novels. However, this is like a fantasy romance, and I've heard it's really dark. It's got vampires. I think it's in like a college setting maybe as well. I'm not entirely sure, but I follow Katie on social media. I've actually been watching her booktube channel for years, although she now does more like authortube than booktube, but I've been like following her for years, and I didn't love the last book I read by her, but I really want to enjoy this, and hopefully I will. I feel like fantasy romance has a better shot at being something I enjoy, hopefully, and I know that it is quite popular like on TikTok, so, and the way that she's marketing it, I really want to read it, so hopefully her marketing is not just false advertising. I also recently purchased this on Kindle, and yeah, hopefully I'll get to this in October, November time. And then finally, this one is just like a, if I have time, I want to reread it, but I don't know if I will. I recently have been craving a reread of the A Court of Thorns and Roses series because I have yet to read A Court of Silver Flames. I don't really know if I have to reread this trilogy to continue on with the series or what, but I've also been reading a lot of fantasy romance recently, and like I'm in the mood for this book, specifically for A Court of Mist and Fury, because that's my favorite in the series. But I will reread this one first. I've actually never read from this copy because I read it digitally and then I bought the series, and I've actually never reread the series. And I think it's time, you know? And this has definitely got the autumn winter vibes to it. I think it's time. I have to reread this, and I'm very excited for it. Those are all of the books that I'm planning to hopefully read in October, November time. I of course have other books on my radar as well, but like I can't mention everything because like it's just not gonna happen anyway, so it would be pointless for me to just add a bunch of things to my TBR because I know I'm not gonna have time. This is like manageable. Maybe I can do it. Anyway, please let me know what books you are planning to read during this season. I would love to know. But yeah, that's all that I have for this video, so thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked it. If you did, please hit thumbs up. If you're new here, feel free to subscribe down below. And if you went all the way to the end of the video, please leave me some leaf emojis. I will see you very soon with another video. Bye!